Hi, welcome to my channel. I'm Gina. I'm still working on these scrapbooks that I recently inherited back from my ex-husband. There's still a lot more to go, but I've been doing them in numerical order. This is number 44. And it looks like when I was doing these, I've attempted to put them in some sort of order as far as subject. This one seems to be mostly about the 1968 TV special. TV Week. I think this TV magazine in Melbourne had a lot, of course because it was on TV, but they had a lot of articles and so on about the special. This one's TV Week. Elvis in Shock special. It's quite interesting. Elvis Presley's first television special has reached American Australian screens. Sorry, a censorship storm in America has reached Australian screens. The special created a business furor in America when Presley's manager ordered the banning of a stylised dance sequence set in a bordello. The long-awaited Elvis special will be seen on Channel O in Melbourne on November the 14th. This is 1969 we're talking about, and so on. Let's see. The bordello scene aroused no comment until several days later after its taping. At the time we thought it was questionable, but it wasn't bawdy enough to order it out, as a network censor said. But when Colonel Parker, anxious to protect Elvis's image, saw the scene, he exploded with wrath. After a blistering session with top network officials, they ordered it to be cut out of the show. Interesting. Okay. Let's see, what's this one? This is an article. What's this? TV Guide, another little magazine around the time. That's a continuation of the previous page. So that light is going to be a troubling one, isn't it? Elvis, you put a lump on my wallet. Well, it has to be TV Week again, 1969. More about the special. That's the sequence they're talking about. A driving talent that needs no ornament. Part 2 of the... this is TV Times. This is another magazine. TV magazine out in Melbourne. Oops. The Private Hell of Elvis. Mahalia Jackson and Barbara McNair on the set of Change of Habit. Elvis with some of these bands. I'd say that one's in Las Vegas. Elvis signs up for a film with MGM moguls. James Aubrey, Herbert Salou and Douglas Netter. There's Elvis. James Aubrey was the one of Barbara Lee's boyfriends at the time when she was having an affair with Elvis. Elvis bears his soul. Okay. That was his father. Great photo. More nice photos. Horoscope for Elvis the rest of his life. I read that. It's quite interesting. It's mainly about, because it was written in 1967-68, there's a bit about numerology and his name and so on. 1968 is a year for family matters, property, buildings and land. The indications are not entirely favourable. There's a positive danger of serious illness to parents or their separation from each other. Disturbances, illness, tensions with his wife are possible. His home life, though predominantly happy, comes under severe stress and strain. Elvis is likely to develop contacts with distant lands, and his popularity will be worldwide. He will begin to take steps to improve his mind. He will devote more and more time to religion and philosophy. Okay. I predicted that Elvis's 35th and 36th year would be eventful. 71. Which year or years will be the best in Elvis's lifetime? I predict with utter confidence that El hits his high spot in his 44th and 45th years. Well, that was a dramatic mistake, wasn't it, lady? Elvis will pay a stiff price for his honours and international fame. They may cost him Priscilla. He will have a last wild fling with another woman. Yeah. And then it goes on about Priscilla. Lisa Marie. Yeah. Okay. What you don't know about Elvis. Now it can be told. Elvis is still the king. This is Country and Western magazine. Okay, a little over a year ago, let me see what year it was. It doesn't say what year it is. A little over a year ago, a lot of people were saying that Elvis Presley was all washed up. His records weren't hitting the million mark anymore, and his films were dropping off sharply at the box office. And many said Elvis' marriage to Priscilla was just too much for his devoted female fans to take. Well, it's a year later, must be 1968, 69, and all those people have been proved wrong, dead wrong. Elvis is back in business, and business has never been better. His TV special a year ago, here we are, 1969, started his fantastic comeback, and his 2 engagements since at Las Vegas, which broke all records, clinched his comeback. Elvis in 1970 is hotter than ever. He's still the king, and no one dares to say he isn't. And if anyone had any doubts about how women now feel about Elvis, just watch them go wild when he comes on stage in Vegas. Maybe all the stories about fights with Priscilla and trouble at home have made Elvis more desirable than ever. And there's a few photos of Elvis's various girlfriends. Priscilla. Elvis sizzles in Las Vegas debut. Veteran of 30 movies, but he still worries about that next hit, The Modest Mr. Presley. Description. That's the way Elvis is. Elvis in Las Vegas again. Conference. A dusty camper van, literally covered with photographs of Elvis Presley, rolls into Las Vegas. One more fan has arrived for his nightclub opening. They haven't only come from all over America, but from all over the world. They range from a young couple planning their wedding around his opening show to a grandmother. Well, she confesses, I kind of like the way he moves. Elvis, meanwhile, is nearing the end of a long week of rehearsals and becoming more tense by the hour. He fluffs and moves and swears good-naturedly. The king, in fact, swears a good deal. These are just a few of the sidelights from what is undoubtedly the most anticipated Elvis Presley movie ever. Elvis, That's the Way It Is. It was culled from a staggering 90 hours of film. Well, 90 hours. I wonder what's happened to the rest of that film. I guess this is what Buzz Luhrmann has got hold of, is talking about. The girls talk about Elvis Presley. Elvis. He was a teddy bear, he hugged a lot. Natalie Wood remembers him in their teenage idle days as more like a pleasant high school date who had strong, almost mystical beliefs in God. Yvonne Craig, in Jerry Hopkins' recent biography, said, Elvis encourages a motherly interest. He's so quiet and southern and sweet. Mary Tyler Moore, he was a teddy bear, a very physical, loving person who hugged a lot and a perfect gentleman. Most working with Elvis for the first time were thrown off balance. Yeah. So, if there was ever a more humanising portrait of Elvis, it's the one painted by his recording producer Bones Howes, who recalls Elvis going out to face a television studio audience in his first live show in 8 years. One of the pop music phenomenons of all time sat in his dressing room, frightened, sweating through the heavy makeup for the colour cameras. What am I going to do if they don't like me, he said. What if they laugh at me? Hard to believe, isn't it? The problems of being Elvis Presley. He's 35 and he's still at the top after 15 years. His films make a fortune. His records sell in millions. His name is a legend all over the world. Yet the book he reads most is How to Win Friends and Influence People. Really? I think I had heard that he had read that. That's an interview. If it's a fair income interview, it's quite a good one, actually. Elvis's Gold Car. This is Everybody's Magazine in Melbourne, Australia, December 1967. I remember that car when it came out here. And we saw it. I wouldn't have thought they'd let anybody lie on it like that, but fans weren't allowed to go and sit in it. But obviously the reporters were. Never before and never again will there be a singer like Elvis. He's a legend at his own time, the undisputed king of song. International Elvis. An intimate conversation with Elvis. Some of these magazine articles have dates on, but others don't. All the things you do in retrospect, eh? I should have written the dates of all of them on here. Anyway, when you're reading them, you can sort of hazard a guess when they were printed. Way past 30, Elvis is still one of the most attractive men in show business today. Not wrong. Saint Elvis or... No, he was never a saint. Well, he's more a god. Excuse my blasphemy. Elvis talks about his marriage. Elvis's family talk about his marriage here. What's that one? Oh, okay. Elvis's favourite court ordeal. Elvis sued over baby. Dinner with Jim Reeves, a chat with Presley. Okay, yeah. The varied fortune of Elvis's film life, the hard road, knockers who don't really know where it's at. Yeah. That's a good article, but the camera's just about out of gas, so I won't have time to read it. Memphis, January 71. This was the America's Top 10 Outstanding Young Men. Well, that's the last page in that album, and I will read out this because it's quite good. When somebody mentions an Elvis film, now bear in mind this was printed in 1971, okay? Someone else always manages to conjure up that knowing look as if we all know what that means. We don't, I don't, you don't. The fact is that over 60% of Elvis's films are legitimate cinema, but that fact fails to save him from constant comments. They say that all his films are formula, with 10 songs, maybe even 10 guitars. Nonsense. The next time you are guilty of saying something like this, or the next time you hear it, or hear it said or referred to, think again. Give the greatest entertainer in the world some consideration, at least as much as you may be willing to give to those who offer so much less. Most people who knock Elvis films have seen only a few and therefore automatically consider the rest by what few they saw. If a person saw a weaker one, then that's that. Wait a minute, isn't that how people took his songs? Wrong, back in the 50s. He could sing Loving You All Night and still be branded as a wild man because of Hound Dog. With records it worked to his advantage, and at times in history when he was desperately needed. At a time in history, yep. With films it works in reverse. The next time you hear the knocking start, ask the person doing the knocking to name all the Elvis Presley films he or she has seen. After they have correctly named one or two or three or whatever, point out that Elvis made 32 movies, and it's quite stupid to judge by such a small fraction. Many people only see his films via TV, that they are generally the weaker ones, so that's no real help. And then this article goes through all these movies and what they're about and so on. It's nice, isn't it, to see people sticking up for his films even back then. Okay, that's that scrapbook. As I said, my battery's running low, so I'll finish it here. Whack it onto YouTube, and got a few more scrapbooks to go. It's a quiet day in Melbourne, hot. Not going outside doing anything else, so I might as well keep going. Bye for now.